Welcome to our 4-day course on dreams. We're going to work today and for the next 3 days on how can you learn to interpret your own dreams and how can you help your friends to interpret their dreams without giving silly, superstitious interpretations, but instead by learning to ask the right questions so the dream makes sense to the dreamer, because our own life is personal, our life comes up in our personal dreams, and therefore all the interpretations have to depend upon knowing what the dreamer thinks and what the dreamer feels about it. So here we are. We're going to have now a little while to work together, and I'm going to try to make life easier. You know, when we have a dream, it scares the daylights out of us, it interests us, it turns us on, it puzzles us, and then usually we don't know what it's about because we try to get the whole picture all at once. Dreams can be broken down into particular parts, and you can learn to ask yourself particular questions about each part of your dream. And when you do that, the dreams start to make sense. The trouble is we weren't taught that. You know, how many of us were taught dreams aren't important, they don't mean anything? How many of you got that when you were little? Yeah. Okay, well, guess what? When we dream, we do our most careful thinking. We look at our whole life with memory of our whole life. So we're more objective when we sleep. We're much less defensive, so we have our better perspective on our lives. And the trick in that is not to be fooled because dreams come in pictures and images that seem to have nothing to do with our lives. We're going to find out that those images clearly picture important feelings, attitudes we have about ourselves and our important relationships. How many of you ever dreamt about, some animal, a tiger, a gorilla, a dog? You have?
Yeah, just last night, monkeys.
Tell me about your dream.
It was a really bizarre dream. In fact, I have it in my journal. But what the gist of it was is there were monkeys that were in a zoo, but they were actually being kept in a parking garage. And there was like a mesh fence across the levels of the parking garage, and you could stand on a walkway outside. And it was really disgusting. And the monkeys could like get out and they would like claw at people, and then they would sneak back in as the attendant came by, so that nobody there believed that they could get out.
So what was disgusting about it?
It was just, it was filthy. You know, it was a parking garage. It wasn't like a zoo facility, so they weren't equipped for the waste, and it was just really old, and the fence was like decaying and fraying and it's rusting.
Okay, so Pam's dream about monkeys would be different from anybody else's because Pam has not only her own personal beliefs and feelings, experiences with monkeys, which may be very little, picture in a book or a zoo, maybe that she's a zoologist, she knows all about them. We have no idea yet. And her monkeys are doing a certain thing. They're in a sort of disgusting environment, they're where they shouldn't be, and they're out and grabbing at her. And furthermore, nobody else can tell they're out, right? Mm-hmm. It looks like they're being kept in the cages, but in fact they're out causing, what would you say, trouble?
They're scratching people. They didn't scratch me, but they were scratching other people, actually putting gashes in people's skin.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is try to encourage you when you work with your own dreams and as we practice working with each other's dreams. It's instead of have one person being the authoritative interpreter, one person's going to be the interviewer and the other person the dreamer. So I'm always going to play the role of the interviewer or the coach for you if you're interviewing. So with Pam's dream, I'm going to play the interviewer, okay? And this is going to be the basic setup that we'll use for the next few days. Pretend I come from another planet, right? I don't know anything about this Earth life business. And I'd like you to describe to me what monkeys are like. What's the personality of a monkey?
Mischievous.
Yeah?
Mischievous and untamed.
Mm-hmm. Do you like them or not like them?
They're generally unclean, and I'm not crazy about that, but I enjoy watching them.
Okay, what do you enjoy about watching a monkey?
And sometimes they're very funny. They do things that are out of the ordinary, just, you know, watching the way they interact, or the little fight. They fight a lot, the little fights they have.
Okay, so now tell me if I'm right, and correct me where I give a misemphasis. Monkeys are mischievous, and they are unclean, they fight a lot. What else did you say?
They're just fun to watch.
And they're fun to watch, because they do unusual things. Okay. Is there anything in your life at all that's like a monkey, that is mischievous, unclean, they fight a lot, but they're fun to watch?
Probably me.
How?
I'm a terrible housekeeper. I didn't say that on the air, I hope. I'm mischievous. I'm very mischievous. I'm playful.
Uh-huh.
I don't think I fight a lot, but lately I have been, I think.
Lately you've been fighting a lot.
Yeah, lately I've been. In fact, for the past 2 weeks, I've been kind of cross. My family has pointed it out to me.
Okay. So in your dream, the monkeys are supposed to be kept in a parking space, which is not an appropriate place for them, right?
Right.
How come? Why isn't that good for a monkey?
Well, it's not healthy. It's not healthful. They should be in the zoo, or they should be free. But this was a zoo environment that I was touring, and for some reason they were in the parking garage.
Since I've never seen a parking lot coming from another planet, would you tell me why parking lots are not good places for monkeys?
Well, it's a parking garage, so it has levels.
Yeah.
And
why isn't that okay for a monkey?
probably because it's too restrictive, and it was overcrowded. There were too many monkeys there.
So how are the monkeys feeling in this overcrowded, restricted parking lot?
They want to get out,
They want to get out,
and they're angry.
and they're angry. Okay, so is there anywhere in your life, some part of your life, not the whole picture maybe, where you're feeling like a monkey that's kept in a too restricted place, where you want to get out, and you're feeling angry, and you're lashing out the way these monkeys are. They're scratching, even though they look like they're not. You know that they're getting out and scratching other people.
Mm-hmm. Yes. My husband and I are having just a little bit of communication problems. In fact, I do communicate, and I do act, and it has been taking me away from the family. And I really want to do it, and he really doesn't discourage it. He wants me to do it. But then what happens is it takes me away, and then his things take him away, and I'm giving him a hard time about his being away when I really shouldn't, because I'm the one. And maybe I'm feeling guilty about it.
Well, that may or may not be so. What I want to know is that the monkeys are feeling. The monkeys are angry. You said that they're angry and they're feeling restricted, and they want to be out where they're either free or in a zoo that gives them more freedom, right? So is that a picture of your life right now? Is that how you're feeling inside? Probably you're under. You don't have to stretch it. I mean, either you are or you aren't.
I'm not real sure. I know that it's a conflict area, that I want the freedom to do the acting things, but I don't want the guilt that's associated with it. So I'm kind of angry about the fact that it's difficult for me to do this.
Okay, so one of your assignments for tonight is to see why you're feeling guilty. All right? Where does the guilt come from? What word form does it take? Is that part of your feeling imprisoned in a parking lot where you can't do your thing? Monkeys can't do their thing very well. They're overcrowded, they're penned in, they want to get out. If those are feelings inside you, it would help you to know that, face it real clearly, so that you're not scratching everybody and pretending that you're not. Because these monkeys, they go back in, we've been in here all the time, we haven't been out there scratching people, okay? So you can see that that's going to be long-term very destructive. And in the dream, the problem in the dream is that the monkeys are where they shouldn't be. The monkeys shouldn't be in such a caged-in place. It's just not healthy for them. Okay? Does that make sense to you?
Oh, very much so.
Okay. So tell me now, and it helps a lot to review your dream, because you get these insights, I have to click, 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 and then they disappear. So Pam, tell me now, and I'm asking Pam to summarize the dream, how you see the various images. Say, this is the monkey, I describe it as that, and it reminds me of this. So tell me how you understand your dream so
How
far.
I would understand it is the monkey is me.
Because?
Because it contains a lot of the characteristics of me as a person, that I'm playful and mischievous, and I can be a little slow. And, sorry, Mom. And it's angry because it feels like it wants to get out of an environment that isn't quite right for it.
Isn't quite right for it?
Well, isn't right for it. It's not, it's not right. For what it wants to do, it's not working.
Is it the monkey's fault that they're dirty?
Not really.
Why are they dirty?
Because the environment doesn't allow them to be.
Okay, so is there a parallel in your life when you keep saying, oh, Mom, I keep this terrible house? Have you imprisoned yourself in your housewifing role to the degree that I'm not going to clean it up, I'm just going to be bad at this and prove that I'm not that much of a housewife?
That's very helpful.
Yeah. So you don't have to apologize to your mom. You have to clean up your act, right? And that means put yourself in a place that feels healthy for you. Okay, does Do you have any questions about your dream at this point?
No. No,
Okay.
it makes a lot of sense.
All right. Now, you saw what we did. I just demonstrated this. I'm being naive. Do you think that I led Pam and told her what her dream was about? No. Okay, you didn't? Because I honestly didn't have a clue what it was about when she told me. And I thought, oh, I hope we can make some sense out of this. But I just trust the process. I come from another planet. Describe to me the major elements in your dream. I feed back to her as close as I can remember, her own words. And then, guess what? Pam can say, you saw her face. That reminds me of me. And then she reminded her of her parts of herself that are playful. And then she said the parts of herself that were scratching and angry. Especially when you hook the dreamer into the feeling. She can really see, this is me. Or it might have been someone else. In this case, it was Pam dreaming about the monkeys as the way she feels. Okay? Is that pretty clear? There's no hocus pocus in this. We did not have to talk about what Sigmund Freud said, what Carl Jung said about dreams, what 3001 Dreams Interpreted book said. None of that would have been relevant to Pam's experience. Okay? Now, each time when you're working with each other later and you want to tell your dreamer what it means, button your mouth. Poker face it. If you suddenly figure out what her dream means, keep it a secret. Let the dreamer figure it out herself first. You may be wrong. Chances are you are. Chances are at least you won't know the richness of her associations. None of us could have come up with this description of monkeys. Would have been different, right? So if you dream about monkeys, you relate to them. You know, you've got this feeling for them. Okay, so now what I want to do is give you sort of an outline way of looking at dreaming. All your dreams can be divided into 5 major elements. Most dreams have a setting, right? Then dreams do or don't have all of the rest. They have people in them. They have animals. They have feelings. And they have actions and plots. You can really look at any dream and say, here are the elements. In Pam's dream, the major elements are parking lot is the setting. So he said, tell me about the setting. I come from another planet. Tell me what it's like. And I want to get the feelings on each of these. So feelings will come around several times. Because that's, you saw when she got hooked in, it was because she knew how she felt about it. Right? That's when you felt it. Yeah. Okay. So then you had the monkeys. So we had animals in the dream. And I got to ask my animal questions. People. Other people were getting gored, scratched. Right? Not me. Other people. Okay, and then the action was people are getting scratched. The monkeys pretend they haven't done it. They get back in as if they're really in the cage, but they really have freedom. We haven't even covered that point yet. These monkeys, if they could get out, but they're keeping themselves, pretending they're still caught in this cage. They feel somehow they have to do that. And then the plot of the dream is, the problem here is these monkeys are where they shouldn't be, and they're causing trouble, and they're pretending they're not causing trouble. Okay? That covers the whole dream. Any one of the dreams you have, you can do this with. You can say, okay, what's my setting? Dun, 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 dun. Okay, now this is where your homework's going to come in. Your pink cards. These are your symbol cards. When you work with each other's dream, and as I work with the next dream, I want you to watch as I go along. They're going to be basic setting questions. Symbol card number 1 is the settings in your dreams. Describe the opening setting of the dream. What is the place like? And how does it feel to be here? And what does it remind you of? How so? Convince me that it really reminds you of that pretty well. Okay, can you recognize that's what I just did? All right, let's go to the card number 2. And these are people in dreams. You are never going to be at a loss for words when you work with your dreams again. You can do this for yourself or with somebody else. Just hold these in front of you and work on it. Okay, now you take the people. We didn't do the people in your dreams much, but you quickly said, oh yeah, this reminds me of my family has been reminding me that I've been out after them, right? Okay. So if we have another dream, we're probably going to have some people who play a major role rather than the monkeys. And then I'll say, who is X? Who is Hillary Clinton? Pretend I've never heard of her before, because that's the only way the dreamer will tell you what's going on. Otherwise, the dreamer says, well, you know, but I know my pictures. I don't know the dreamer's pictures of Hillary Clinton. Okay. So what is Hillary like in waking life? What's she like? What's she like in your dream? Describe her to me. Use adjectives. And that's what we got from you on the monkeys. And so I want to say then, oh, so you describe Hillary as this sort of person. Remind you of anybody in your life? Some part of yourself, somebody you know, or some situation. Okay, and then again, how so? Okay, and then card 3 is your animals and dreams. What's the animal like? Pretend I've never seen it before. Okay. How would you describe the personality of a monkey? That's a key word for all animals. Animal dreams are the easiest to work with. Because once you ask a dreamer, what's the personality of a cougar? The dreamer never says, I don't know. They always sort of know. And that really describes somebody in the dreamer's life, or the dreamer. And so what's the animal doing? Again, let me tell you what you just said to me. Does this remind you of anybody in your life? You're recapitulating or recapping that description. Okay, animals. And then objects in dreams do the same thing. You know, you could just imagine that. We'll do some more of those. But, you know, what's the object? Tell me about it. Describe it. Let me recapitulate to you what you just said. Does it remind you of anything in your life? And then feelings. Always go for the feelings in dreams. You'll get feelings on each of the major elements. But really, what were you feeling most? And in this case, the best way to ask Pam that was, how were the monkeys feeling? Did you see Pam hesitate for an instant? No. Yeah. It was interesting to see how she knew immediately. And then she, because she's real open, was willing to tell us. Boy, I feel like that. Yeah.
Would it be possible for Pam's dream to have two or dual meaning?
Yes, but they wouldn't be conflicting. They might be different levels of the same kind of meaning. In other words...
So the monkeys would always represent himself and maybe not some other people?
Usually not. In this case, Pam didn't say, it reminds me of me and it reminds me of my whole family. We're all like that. No, they were a group of monkeys. That would fit. But it wouldn't counter what she's saying in the first one. You may be having an idea about what monkeys may mean, but Pam didn't give us one. If you dreamt, it might mean something different. Okay? Does that answer your question? Okay. And as that comes up in specific dreams, remember, just bring up these questions and say, well, right now, what about this? Trick is, while the dreamer's working, we've got to let her have her say first, and then afterward we'll discuss it. Okay? And then the actions and the plots. Remember how important the action was. That ties the whole piece together. Right? What are the monkeys doing in Pam's dream? How are they feeling? What are they doing? How is this going on in your life? And what they're doing is they're getting back into the cage. As soon as they're out, they get back in and they feel miserable. Right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So, these are the questions you can go to with any of your dreams, and I'd like you to try to do that tonight for maybe 15 minutes with one of your own dreams when you're home. Don't worry about doing the whole thing, but ask yourself step by step these questions. Don't just say, what does a monkey mean? Because Pam could not have told us what a monkey meant until she described a monkey to somebody from another planet. So these are the questions you want to ask yourself. Okay.
But, you know, what if the dreamer doesn't know? What if she would have said, I don't know, I don't know, or that doesn't mean anything to me?
She wouldn't. She wouldn't say, I don't know what a monkey is, because she's already dreamt it. She has already seen a monkey.
When you asked her to describe a monkey and she adjectively described the monkey, and then I think you said something to, is there anyone in your life that reminds you of those adjectives? She knew it was her, but what if she didn't know, and what if it wasn't her? And
we're going to come upon that. This is going to happen because Pam was really clicking right in right away. But what you do is you get smart and you ask other questions. You're going to get a really good description of the image. If Pam had said, well, monkeys are furry little guys, they're sort of dirty, and they're cute. And I say, well, does that remind you of anybody? She'll say, no. But if I had taken longer with the description step number one of this process is describe the image to me. So I really took a little time with that. That's the part that's most important, because I wanted to get words that lit up in her face, that I could see Pam saying, oh, and they're so cute when they do this, and they're so yucky and when they do that, and they're scratch hard when they do this. I could tell she was feeling closely what the monkeys are like. And only after I got a pretty full, rich description was I then willing to say, recap, now let me tell you what I just heard, and then ask her to bridge from her dream experience, what does this remind you of in your waking life? What are you thinking?
No, I'm thinking she's right on.
I mean, you felt that as you got closer and closer to the monkey.
Yeah,
as
there
you
was no doubt. I mean, after I'd said it, it was kind of like, oops, that's me.
Yeah.
And also, what significance is it? I mean, so what? You know, you dreamt about yourself, so now what? You know what I mean?
Ask her.
I mean, so what? So now that you think that you've accurately analyzed your dream, what do you think about it?
I'm a little scared.
But why?
Because basically I have just faced something that I haven't wanted to look at. That's why I dreamt it.
Oh.
You know, if I could have faced it in my real life with my husband, if we could have sat down and talked about it, I wouldn't have dreamt it. But I'm a person that believes that when you can't work something out in your real life, you dream it. And so when I laughed about the monkeys, I even wrote it down in my journal. I'm thinking, what in the world could a monkey mean? But then once you had me talking about it, you forced me to admit. Even if I hadn't admitted to everyone here, I would have had to admit to myself the truth of the matter.
Yeah.
And I would have had to face it.
Had Pam been more defensive and guarded, she might have said, well, I don't know what that's going to do, how that's going to connect to my life. I'm not really sure. That doesn't sound real familiar. And so I'd then come around. If you want to keep working on the dream, if you want to stop at any point when I'm working with your dream, just say, I don't want to do this anymore because it's too tight. But if I had noticed that maybe I could ask a few more questions about monkey, get Pam excited about monkeys, and then I'd come back and say, now does that remind you of something in your life? And it's interesting. Once you get that insight in a dream, it's easier to admit it to yourself and then to other people.
Yeah. I'm sorry. How do we know that the dreamer is not misinterpreting the dream? How do we know the monkeys really aren't maybe her kids, or maybe if she was a teacher, the kids in her classroom?
She only asked questions, and she...
How does the dreamer know
Okay,
that his or her interpretation of the dream is in fact correct?
That's a real
And that
important
they're not-
question.
And that they're not, just kind of preconceived ideas of, well, I want it to mean this.
Exactly. That's the whole point of making this a method rather than a theory, rather than dreams mean this because some magical book said it. You have to go through your descriptions and you see if they fit. You give a good description, and then you say, boy, all the elements that I described, all the key elements of these monkeys as the way they were in this dream, that fits me to a T. It's not an almost fit, that exactly fits. And when Pam said, well, maybe about something, maybe this is so about my life, well, is it maybe or is it so? A lot of us say maybe when we'd rather not take full responsibility. But sometimes we say maybe when it's not a really good fit. And if Pam would say, that doesn't really fit, then we would have to go back to the drawing board, tell me more about monkeys, maybe we didn't get a really good description. Then we recap that description to her and we say, can you bridge it to your waking life? And all I can say is, you feel it. It doesn't fit. For instance, would this description fit your kids? That they come out of the cage thing and then they come back in.
My children are
angry.
a great deal like me.
Yeah, but are they in this moment like these monkeys in an inappropriate place, angry, crowded,
No,
wanting to get out?
Not at all. Not
Okay,
at
so
all.
so it wouldn't fit the kids. Would it fit? Let me give another hypothesis.
Classroom. How about coworkers?
Coworkers. Do you have coworkers?
I'm not working.
Okay. All right. So see what you're doing, and you have to think about this all the time. You're trying to think, well, could be about a lot of other things.
Or shoppers in the mall?
To maul them, right? But that only works if it works for the dreamer. If you said to the dreamer, okay, describe this image, and then she says, it's like myself, and you say, but isn't it like so-and-so? You're really stepping on her toes. But if you suspect it is like, let's say that you know her husband's a real monkey sort of guy. You know that about him, he's your best buddy or something like this. So instead of saying, isn't this like your husband too? That's much too pushy for a dreamer. Say, could you describe those monkeys one more time? Is there anybody else in your life who's like that besides yourself? And if it's right, she'll go do it. If it isn't, she'll say, well, and if you're really desperate, you say, is it like your husband? And she'd say, yes, or she'd say no. But she would know once she'd been able to give a real good feeling description of the monkey. Does that answer your question? I think you'll see as we demonstrate some more. Okay. But this is a nice way you can test it. And let me talk about the steps of the interview process. As you can see that then as we do the next one. Step one is description. I come from another planet, give me a full description. Okay? Step two is, let me recap that. Let me get back to you what you just said. Correct me if I'm wrong if I give you the wrong slant on something. Step three is bridge. Can you relate this to anything in your life? Do the monkeys in your dream remind you of anything in your life right now? Right? That's description, recap, bridge. Those are the three most important steps. And I want you literally, when you're working with this, follow the steps. Have I followed this step? And the way you follow the step is by asking these description questions on the symbol cards, right? And so you get to the bridge, and the dreamer says, yes, that reminds me of myself. Well, now we have to test it. See, Paul? We got to test that bridge. That's the next step. How so? How is it like you? Convince me that the major qualities fit the thing you're making a metaphor. These monkeys are a metaphor for how I feel in my life right now. Okay? All right? So you do want to test it. That's real important, because otherwise You can fly by the seat of your pants. And then, after you've got a description recapitulation bridge, I'm going to keep repeating that so you remember to do it. Those 3 major steps. You test the bridge. Does that make a good connection? And then you ask the dreamer, okay, is there anything you want to do about this dream? Now, I'm not going to do that today, but tomorrow I'll ask Pam, you've had time to think about your dream. You've had time to really look at this problem you've been wishing would go away, right? Because don't forget, these monkeys are pretending they're not having a problem. And go ahead and go out. And Pam will be able to think about whether or not she wants to do something about it. She may not want to do anything right now. She may have to reflect on it, and that's the reflection step, real carefully. Is this the way I want to live my life? If it's not, what am I willing to do about it? Right? So would you just think about that tonight? Reread your dream once and write out a summary. Okay? Because you summarized the dream for us. And I want you just to take those steps one more time, just a half page written down, summary of what this dream meant to you. And then what do you want to think about it? What do you want to do? And you don't have to do anything. It may be years before you do anything about it. Maybe in 10 years you'll do something. And maybe tomorrow you'll decide, I could do this a little bit. I don't have to change everything, but I could say this changed in my life. Okay, good. All right, now, yeah.
So the only dreams that you can do this with are dreams that you're having, like right now.
No, you can do it with your dreams from childhood.
But how do you go back and feel what you were feeling when you had the dream?
If you still remember the dream, sometimes you're able to recapture how you felt. You remember a dream from when you were 7 years old? You had a nightmare over and over again? You go back, let's see, that would have been such and such a year. I was living in this house. This was going on with my family. This was going on with school. Then you interview yourself with the questions, and you answer as if you're that 7-year-old. Okay? Who is Uncle George? Well, now you may know that Uncle George grew up to be a drunken skunk. But when you were 7, you thought Uncle George was sweet, wonderful hero. That's the Uncle George description you have to give for the 7-year-old's dream. Okay? In other words, a dream that you have about your mom may be a dream you would interpret and describe differently just before Christmas. Because maybe you went home on Christmas, you were together for 14 days, and you're going crazy with your mom. So the dream you have after Christmas would use mom differently from the one
But
before.
there's nobody in the dream. It's not a person or an animal or anything. It's just me doing something.
You've got an action, okay? You've got an action. Do you want to tell us the dream?
It's not anything bad.
How come the guys are laughing?
It's it's so bizarre, and it's a dream that I have periodically.
Still.
Still.
Okay.
I haven't had it lately, but when I saw that they wanted people with dreams, I was like, I gotta find out what this dream means, because when I have it, it really bothers me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm chewing a piece of pink gum, and I don't remember the setting. I don't remember anything that's going on around me, but I'm chewing this piece of gum.
Okay, wait a second. We've got Kimberly doing an action, which is chewing, and we've got an object, gum. We've already got questions to ask her, right? Okay.
Okay. And then I take the gum out of my mouth and throw it away. But there's still like a piece of gum sticking to my teeth. And I start chewing again, and it starts getting bigger and growing in my mouth, and then it like fills up my mouth, and I'm pulling and pulling and pulling, and I cannot get the gum out of my mouth, and it's stuck in my teeth, and it's just, I'm pulling and pulling, and I can't get the gum out of my mouth. And I wake up like, I'm in a frenzy because my mouth is just full of this pink gum.
Since I come from another planet, I need to know how it feels to have your mouth full of pink gum that you can't get rid of. Just tell me
It's
what.
frustrating.
Frustrating?
It's aggravating.
Aggravating?
It's
You said you were in a frenzy. What's that mean?
in a frenzy.
Yeah.
I'm in a panic because I can't get this gum out of my mouth, and it's starting to disrupt my breathing.
So it
It's
would.
like I'm suffocating.
Okay. All right. So you're suffocating. You're in a frenzy. You're in a panic. You're frustrated, right? You're aggravated. Okay. Well, that gives us a good start to look at your dream. Okay. Okay. We can pick up with working on that dream afterward, right? Okay.
Hot tapes.
Okay, stand up, relax.
Are we all going to be able to decipher our dream?
Within the next 4 days, not tonight.
Yes, I've had it for 30 years, and I want to get
My situation be interpreted.
So if you
We're not
can
gonna-
stand
Just
up.
stand up and don't walk far away. Sorry.
Here's the exact same thing.
Bars, 30 seconds.
Any feedback from anybody on how this is? Same kind of cue.
Yeah, I was trying to give you 10.
Oh, for me, yes, I got 10. I got it. I just didn't want to nod my head.
I know,
Okay.
but the 10 for you.
Real well.
Okay, we're all at speed. Okay, if you're set, she's going to take a silent count to 5 and go.
You are going to take a silent
Go
count to
ahead,
5.
Pam, if you had been in therapy, do you think you would have realized as quickly or at all what you just did in the last few minutes?
I had been in therapy at one time, and I did keep a dream journal for that purposes, and we never arrived at anything that quickly. Never. I mean, to come to, to sit down with a bunch of strangers and be able to go, okay, that's me, and I'm having a problem at home, and, for that to all come out that quickly, I don't think that would have ever happened.
No, but even though, are you maybe at a more open point in your life now or more willing to face some difficult decisions?
No, I have always been very open.
Yeah. These things are hard, but if you lay it out for the dreamer, piece by piece, lay out her description, it's just so obvious that you can't not see it. You may not be willing to admit it. And that's where your openness comes in, but it gets real obvious. If I had just said to Pam, tell me what this dream reminds you of, in general, she wouldn't have gotten it. We have to go through these steps to get her to lay the groundwork, to see the patterns. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have any other thoughts about your dream?
Well, one of the things was that I was very worried that, especially since this is on the air, I love my husband.
Mm-hmm.
I dearly love my husband, and I was really afraid that maybe the interpretation meant that this marriage was the wrong environment for me. So that's very frightening.
Sure, sure.
You don't want to face it. You don't want to look at that. And
So look at the dream. Just stay there. The monkeys are in the wrong place. The parking lot doesn't necessarily mean your marriage. It's where you got yourself. These monkeys are freer than they know. They get out, they come back in, they've got the cage. They've got power over this environment, but they're playing the game. You haven't got some ogre who's keeping the monkeys in who looks like your husband. You can still love your husband and create, because of your own beliefs about what a housewife does, and et cetera, et cetera. You can create your own prison.
so I'm creating my own fence.
Yeah. And what dreams help you do is look at your part in the problem. Instead of blaming everybody else, what you can do something about is your stuff, and your dreams will usually lay that out. If, for instance, you were a battered wife, you might have dreams of people who are really horrible, and they come and do terrible things to people. And when you describe that horrible person in the dream, some mass murder, you suddenly find yourself using words. You describe your husband, and then you have to look at how you're getting battered, and it's a terrible thing. But that's not your dream.
No,
Your dream's real different. Your dream is about what these monkeys need.
is that I really have the freedom, and I'm not appreciating it.
And there has to be a system shift. The system has to change to make sure these monkeys are housed better. This isn't appropriate for them. But there's no one bad guy who's to be gotten out or sent to jail or killed off. All those things will happen in dreams.
Yeah, that was frightening. It was kind of like, oh my God, I have to leave my husband.
It's real important not to jump to conclusions about your dreams. Just see what you learn about yourself. Your dream doesn't tell you what to do. The dream says, this is the situation you're in. If you look at it, you're going to be a lot smarter. And then you get to choose what you want to do about it. You may choose to stay in a relationship that's not healthy or good for you, or keep a relationship in a way that's not healthy because you're too afraid of the alternatives. That's okay, it's your life. Your dream doesn't say, well, then I'm not going to come and give you any more dreams. You just get the same dream over and over. Your dreams will haunt you, and your dream will keep repeating the theme of more prison dreams, until you get yourself out of your prison. But that might mean 1,000 things. It might mean saying to my husband, listen, I'm going to be out 3 nights a week because I love doing this, thing that I'm involved with, some group that I'm involved with. And you got to get used to that and enjoy it. That may be enough freedom for you. 1 day a week might be enough. Who knows? You have to look at your own life situation. So you take it, you use your common sense. Dreams are not from voodoo woo-woo land. They're your brain working and helping you to look at yourself much more honestly. Okay. Kimberly, we just want to hear more about your dream with the gum. But what I'd like to do, it's never too soon to start practicing doing this. So, your name is Mary?
Marie.
Marie. I'm going to ask Marie to ask you a couple of questions about your dream. Now, Marie, why don't you, she doesn't have a setting, so go to the card with objects.
Okay, is that blue or
Pink. That's a pink one, and it's your third card, I think.
Okay.
It's card
No,
number
that's
4,
animal.
objects and dreams. Okay? And so you ask her, remind her you come from another planet, and you want to know what bubblegum is, what's it like, what's going on with it in the dream.
Okay.
Right? And then you're going to say, once you get a real good description, and I'll let you know when you've got one, because it'll take longer than you think.
Okay.
Okay? Then we'll say, you just said bubble gum is thus and so, and it feels like this in the dream. Does this remind you of anything in your life? Now, this is going to be a tougher dream, because Kimberly's had this since she was a little girl. What, since you were 7?
No, I've had this dream for several years,
Ah,
but it's periodic,
okay.
and I haven't had it lately.
Okay, you haven't had it in the last 5 months, 5 years?
About 5 months.
Okay.
5, 6 months.
So over when would you say you started having it? About 3 years ago?
No, probably about
Just guess.
mid-20s.
How long ago was that? Come on. We're going to spill the
A
beans.
year ago. About 8 years ago.
Okay.
8, 9 years ago.
So about 8 years ago, you started having it intermittently. So the problem that this dream represents has been going on for at least those many years. It's going to be a recurring thing. It's going to be a tight knot. So you've got to really get her into bubblegum. That's her image. That's what causes panic and various feeling states. I'm going to have you ask the object questions, and then Paul, would you like to ask the feeling questions? And I'll help you. I'll coach you with it. All right, so you get your feeling questions ready, but that comes afterward. All right, go ahead. You're the interviewer from another planet.
Kim, I'm from another planet. I have no idea what gum is. Tell me what gum is.
Gum it's chewy, and it's rubbery, and I don't chew it very often. I don't really like to chew gum because it makes my jaws tired. And it's sticky. It gets stuck on stuff. It gets stuck in the carpeting and stuck on your fingers and your hair and stuff. And really annoying when kids drop it on the floor and the carpeting, and it's messy.
So it's chewy, sticky, and what?
Messy.
And messy. How do you feel about that? I mean, what about chewy? What is chewy?
What do you mean?
How do you feel about
Do you like it, not like it? That helps them with feelings.
sorry?
Do you like or not like something that's chewy
Oh,
and
do
sticky?
you like or not like something that's chewy and sticky?
I don't like gum. I don't like chewy, sticky gum. I like chewy caramel and stuff like that, but I don't like the gum.
You don't like.
Find out what gum is, how it's different from
Well,
caramel.
why is gum different than caramel then?
Because you don't eat it, you just chew it. You just chew it. It stays in your mouth and you chew it. And once the flavor's gone, it's like a piece of rubber in your mouth.
So then as opposed to
Tasty.
caramel, what do you do with caramel that makes you feel better than just chewing?
I eat it, I put it in my mouth, I chew it, and I swallow it, and it's gone.
And that makes you feel how? I'm asking feeling questions, I'm sorry.
It's all right, but she can't help that because it's in the action. You'll get it.
I like caramel. I like eating
Well,
caramel.
tell me about
Oh, no, wait.
what.
Now, don't get too much into caramel. You want to
Oh.
know how it was different from, but you want to make her focus on the gum.
Okay.
So it's chewy, it's sticky. She doesn't like it. You chew it, and this is more recap, okay? You're in the recap stage. And you chew it, and you chew it, and the flavor's gone. You just have to keep on chewing it, and you never swallow it. And give her that again. Get her excited
So when
about
you're chewing that gum and it's sticky and you don't like it and it doesn't have any flavor anymore, and really if you had a piece of caramel, you like caramel and you swallow it,
that. But this, the gum,
but the gum
you don't swallow.
you don't swallow.
No.
Well, how do you
Chew and chew and
feel
chew.
when you don't swallow the gum?
Good, good.
When I'm awake,
Yeah.
No. Oh, when she's
Yes,
awake?
because we're going to give Paul the chance of the feelings of the action in the dream.
Okay.
when I'm awake, how do I feel when I'm chewing gum?
When you're chewing
When you keep
and
chewing.
Right. Schmooze with
I
it.
don't. I spit it out. I throw it away.
But at what point do you spit it out? What happened, at what
when
point
the
of the
flavor's
chewing?
gone, basically, yeah. Once the flavor's gone,
Then
and
you
my
just-
mouth doesn't salivate anymore,
It's adios.
Okay, before going to Paul, do a bridge. Ask her, give her another recap of what she said, so she hears it one more time, and then say if that reminds you of something or someone in your life.
Okay, so the process of gum, you don't like gum at all because it's chewy and it's sticky. Is there, and I keep forgetting the third thing you said.
Messy.
It's messy, chewy, and sticky, and you want to spit it out when it doesn't have any flavor because you don't salivate anymore. Is there anyone or anything in your life that's chewy and messy and sticky?
And that you keep chewing and chewing.
And that you keep chewing and chewing and chewing, and then
you can't get it
finally
out
you
of your
got to
mouth.
spit it out.
Can't even get it out
And
of your
you
mouth.
can't get it
'cause it's
out.
going on in the
Not
dream.
right now, because I'm not having that dream right now.
But up to 5 months ago, for the last years that you've been having the dream. So that's where we have to go back to the time frame of the dream. That's when it was
Or is
relevant
there anything
to your life.
reoccurring that in your life sometimes that annoys you or that makes you feel sticky?
Smothered, she said later.
Or is there an incompleteness in your life sometimes?
Okay, she's saying something now. Follow
I'm
right
sorry.
up on what she said.
Men, oh, men. What about men?
How so? You're asking her to test it.
I guess some of the relationships that I get into with men,
Are
uncomfortable.
they sticky? How?
It's not right. There's something not right about it.
And keep running her through the major qualities of the gum and make sure it all fits.
So then
Test
would you
it.
say also that some of the relationships and/or men are messy and annoying?
I would say not necessarily the relationship, the man is.
The man is, to the point where you want to get rid of him? And
But I don't.
You don't. Tell us about that.
Tell us about what?
When you say you don't get rid of them, do you have trouble getting them out of your mouth when you're not salivating anymore? You know, once you stop salivating, you want this gum out of your mouth.
Right.
But you're having a lot of trouble and you're feeling in the dreams smothered and suffocated. Does that happen in your relationships?
Yes.
How? Show us how. Is it just like that?
Well, I guess because maybe consciously, I'm thinking that maybe I'm unconsciously aware that there's a problem, but consciously, I'm happy in the relationship.
Mm-hmm. So what's the problem if you're consciously happy? Does it eventually go bad?
Yeah, then it goes bad somewhere down the road.
Okay, so you know it first in your dream.
So I'm thinking that maybe I'm having this dream because something's going on that's not right.
Okay, that's a perfect example of what dreams do. That way before we consciously admit to what's happening, we know that this relationship has lost its flavor. Or, you know, I'm not salivating anymore, but I don't want to deal with it. Isn't it funny how gum turned out to be? Would any of us have guessed that when we first heard it?
what, 5 months ago?
Yeah.
Was there anyone in your life that fit that description at the time?
Yeah, he's not in my life anymore.
I have one
That
question.
is interesting.
I'm just curious if it was Big Red or Friday.
It's pink.
You know, but that is interesting. Why pink gum?
Always pink.
What about pink? How do you feel
What
about
about pink gum? Pink may be general. Pink gum is what?
What about pink gum?
When I think of bubble gum, and I like bubble gum. I like blowing bubbles with bubble gum.
You like you like bubble gum. So generally, pink is bubble gum, and you like bubble gum, but you don't like gum, and you like blowing bubbles, and you can't blow bubbles with gum, but you can blow little bubbles with gum. Have you ever tried?
It's
Not the same.
No.
Well then,
Okay, but what you got, did you hear what you just got?
yeah.
Okay, so now you just easy and gently reflect that back to her with a little humor because she found it funny.
It wasn't funny.
Oh, I'm sorry that you were laughing wasn't funny.
No, it was funny. Yeah. I can't believe I said that. It sounds bad.
So, pink bubble gum, it allows you to blow bubbles, which you like to do. What do I do now?
Okay, and so, and then you want to spit it out. She has fun. That's a good way
you
to
have
put it.
fun
Does she have
with
fun
pink
with?
bubble gum because you can blow the bubbles, but yet the other kind of gum is chewy and sticky, and you want to just spit it out.
But the pink bubble gum in the dream is what she's having trouble with. The pink. See,
I can't get it out of my mouth.
exactly. You don't want to separate pink bubble gum from the gum in the
bubble gum.
dream because it was pink bubble gum in the dream. So what it adds is another quality. We were very good to pick out. Why pink? Because if somebody adds a color, it's a lot of pink gum.
I mean,
It just fills her mouth.
I
Yes.
can't get it out of my mouth. I'm pulling and pulling, and it's stringing, and it's growing, and it's getting bigger and more, and I can't get the gum out of my mouth.
And the fact that it's pink bubble gum tells us that's her attraction to these guys in the first place. They're fun. These are pink bubble gum sort of guys. They look like fun until they lose their flavor, and then she's got them stuck in her mouth. She can't spit them out. She's pulling and pulling, and she can't get it out. Well, one at a time, probably, is my guess. But so all the qualities of your dream. There's no extra detail that's not meaningful and telling you. And your joke question about Big Red brought up to Marie that, oh, well, how come it's pink and not some other color? You're a natural at this, Marie. I'm amazed that you just follow the dreamer's thoughts and you keep being curious. But that's what we're all going to have to learn. Be real curious about the dreamer's world, the dreamer's idea of pink bubblegum, the dreamer's idea of monkeys. Our ideas are only useful in that they give us questions we can ask about, but we don't want to impose ours.
Oh, go ahead.
When you have a relationship that goes bad, loses its flavor, you have the same dream. Is that what you're saying, or it was the first time 5-6 months ago?
She hasn't kept a journal.
I haven't kept a journal.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think back. And I have it a lot when I'm in a relationship that all my relationships have gone bad. So
What I'm saying, you always dream about pink bubblegum
It's always pink, yeah.
at the end of or coming to the end of a relationship.
I'm having the dream. I'm not at that point yet.
Because she's not consciously at the point yet. She hasn't admitted that, boy, this lost its flavor.
That's why I don't know why I'm having it. I have this dream.
Now you'll know.
It's like then I won't waste any more time. I'll be like,
Right.
bye.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, the association that I got, and I'm really glad you said that, if you come up with something, keep your mouth shut, let the dreamer come up with it. When you were describing gum as in comparison to caramel and the swallowing, you can swallow caramel, you like the taste, and gum just doesn't taste good, you want to spit it out. I interpreted that as some sort of incompletedness.
Yes, I heard you.
And then I did say that, and I thought, oh, because that wasn't coming out from
It wasn't
her at
her
all.
word, and you were very careful. I mean, beginners are never as careful as you are, so you did really nicely. You followed Kimberly's words. You used, and you remember them pretty well, using her words, and then when you couldn't remember, oh, and what did you say, Kimberly? Remind me? Because the words that she uses are the ones that are meaningful to her. Now, the question that you had, Kathy, about, well, does this happen every time you're in a flat relationship that's gone flat? She can't know that because Kimberly hasn't been keeping a dream journal. But we can bet. She already has a general sense. That's probably when it comes up. That's how she feels about it. I want to talk to you about keeping a dream journal because tonight you've got homework assignments, but they're really fun and they're totally optional. Don't have to do it. Let's talk about dream journals. Pick out your nightly dream analysis sheet. Oh, no. Take that one secondly. That's the one. Let's take out your blue one, the dream journal, okay, with the clouds on it. What I'd like you to do tonight is write down on a piece of paper, your normal journal or this piece of paper, because it's already set up for you, the date, and 3 or 4 lines about what you did and felt today. Okay? Not just what you did, how I feel about it today. What were my emotional highlights? Not too much, just a little quick set. Then, I'm going to skip you down to the dream title. You leave a space for that because you're going to put a big title across the page and give your dream a name. The monkey dream, the chewing gum dream. Nothing fancy, just so it'll remind you what it is. And then put a little number sign in the margin, which you've got here, and write down your dream. And just write on the back if it gets longer, extra pages if you need that. Okay?
Is this the dream that we have if we dream tonight?
Yes.
We're gonna
Yes. Tonight, before you go to sleep, you write down the day note, and you'll get ready for your dream. When you wake up tomorrow morning, the best way to learn to remember your dreams is think backwards. We all have 4 or 5 dreams every night. So when you wake up, you don't say, what am I going to do today? You think, aha, what was I just thinking about? What was just going through my mind? And then if you remember nothing at all, say I woke up frustrated that I couldn't remember a dream, write down 1 line. If you remembered only a tiny little piece of a dream, I remember dreaming of Joe from 5th grade. Just write that. Within a couple of days, you'll have lots of dreams coming, pouring out. This is just to start your process, okay? And then when you wake up tomorrow morning, do you all have some time, maybe an hour sometime tomorrow? Great, okay. What I want you to do is sit down with your dream journal. It's written out there. Take your nightly dream analysis sheet, the purple one, and answer these questions. What's the dream title? What's the main theme of your dream? What are the main feelings in your dreams? The main conflict? How did things turn out? Well or not well? And what resources did you have or did you need? In other words, gee, I couldn't find anything to do. I had no resources. I didn't have any ideas. I was hopeless or helpless. Or I thought of using my brains, or I thought of, using a weapon or somebody to protect me. Okay? This will help you get an overview of your dreaming pattern for one night. And as we'll talk later, we'll do this weekly and monthly too. Okay, now, it's morning. You've answered your 5 questions here. What are the resources that you had at the end of the dream? Did you have someone come and help you get that gum out? No. You were just working. Your resources were to try to work hard and use your hands. Somebody else might have the dream and be frozen and have not one resource, not be able to do anything about the situation. That tells you about how you feel about the problem. Your dream says you make an effort. You may not be real successful for a while, but you really try to get this problem solved. Spread out your cue cards, the ones that ask you the questions that you're going to ask yourself about the different elements, and then the steps of the dream interpretation process. You've got them visually in front of you, right? Go through step 1, get a good description, and you look at the setting of your dream, you look at the setting card questions. Ask them, write down your answers, right? This is going to take time the first time you do it, and you won't figure out the whole dream probably the first time, but by the time you come here tomorrow, you'll have a new sense of this process for yourself. It's lots of fun. If you get a chance, it would be really nifty to grab a friend, some innocent victim, and say, can I help you with your dream? And you sit the friend down, and you've got the cards right in front of you to say, okay, I get a description. Okay, he's dreaming about a horse, animal questions. And people are happy to sit there while you look up your question. Don't be in a hurry. Dreamers are very patient. They're so happy to have someone help them with their dream. Okay?
You know, what if, when we're doing this for ourselves,
Yeah.
we get into too much? I mean, we sit there and we just analyze, and just like really get carried away with the symbolism, and
Okay.
that's the kind of person that I am.
Okay.
Be like,
These steps are to stop you from analyzing, essentially. We want you to describe first. Remember when we went through the descriptive phase of your bubblegum, you didn't say, what does it mean, what does it mean? We didn't ask you, what does bubblegum mean to you? Because you didn't know. We said, what's bubblegum like? All right? So first, read over the card before you do it. You're not asking yourself what it means. You're asking yourself what it is, what's it like, what are your feelings about it. That is the most important step of working with a dream so you can find out what the metaphor is and what it means to you. If you ask what it means to me right away, you won't know because you don't know enough about the image. All right? So make yourself write it out. Bubblegum is da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then my next step is to recapitulate. Oh, I now read that I've just said bubblegum is this. And I want to bridge it now to my waking life. Step number 3 is bridge it. Okay, what in my life is like bubble gum? You know, that's really chewy and sticky and yucky, and then when it loses its taste, I want to get it out of my mouth. But it's sort of nice. First, you can have fun with it. You know, once you say that to yourself, you know what your dream's about. You just have to slow yourself down to take the steps. All right?
Well, Gail, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Because I'm not sure if mine is a dream or a situation. It might be a waste of time. I'm in a situation where when I go to sleep, if my rest is broken with a phone call or somebody knocking at the door or whatever, and then I have to go back to sleep, it's sort of like I'm not asleep and I want to wake up and somebody is holding me. You understand what I'm saying? It's like there's a weight on me, and it's like if I could just, is that a dream? You understand what I'm saying? And I'm trying to call someone, my son.
You know that your body is
whatever.
sort of paralyzed.
Yeah.
Right? And you know that you're in bed, and you want to call out, and you can't.
And I see people, or at one time I saw people in cloaks walking around. I mean, there was a room full of people in black. And it was it was a distressful call that I received that night, 1:30.
Okay.
I tell people, don't call me after 10 o'clock. I watch 10 o'clock news, that's it.
I turn off
Emergency,
my
you can
phone.
call me. That's right. And these people in these cloaks, they were all in my room was filled with them behind this
And how'd you feel?
fearful call. I was afraid.
You were afraid of the people in the cloaks?
Yeah, the situation.
Were you afraid that you couldn't move?
The whole situation.
That you couldn't move and
because
these
I
people
couldn't
were there.
move that's not the first time. I've been in that situation since, I was a kid.
Okay.
It was like I was afraid to sleep on my side.
Okay, let me
Or,
take you back to this
Is
one
that a
experience.
dream? I mean, what is that?
It's not really a dream. What's probably happening to you, when you're in your normal dream state, your body turns off the power to your big muscles so you don't act out your dreams. Because it'd be a disaster if you did. And some people have that problem. Okay. But sometimes you wake up in your consciousness before your body says, okay, you can move your big arms and your big legs now.
Okay.
So what happens is you have this disruption in your sleep pattern. You go to sleep, maybe, but then you're aware of being awake and you can't move your body. That's a natural physiological process that happens in sleep states, particularly your dreams. So Then you will hallucinate certain images. It's not like a whole dream story and a plot. It's people, things, somebody who's in the room, and the weight on your chest.
And being held.
Being held.
And not being able to move or speak or anything.
Those are images that you make to picture to yourself how your body feels. Oh, I can't move. I feel like I'm being held down. And I'm scared because I've had scary thoughts in my mind. Somebody woke me up earlier and it was a difficult call. So you picture then scary things. Fear manifests itself in imagery a lot, whether we're dreaming or in other stages of our sleep. So the thing that you do about this is you relax. Say, oh, this is happening to me again. And it's amazing when you relax. And?
It was too good. And I was afraid of that too.
What happened?
I mean, it was like
when you
I
relaxed?
it just felt great, and I got scared of that
What were you afraid of?
because it was too good.
Help
You
me.
understand what I'm saying?
No, how can it be too good?
It was like I was floating
And why? What were you afraid that would happen if you let
Because there
yourself float?
because there was nothing there. I mean, to float and
Were you afraid that you'd die? Were you afraid that you were leaving your body? What were you afraid of?
I only did it once, to relax and not
Yeah.
struggle.
Yeah. It was just
And
so
it was good.
Okay. All right. So what I want to suggest, since this happens to you now and then, is relax again. Remember that somebody who likes you said, just relax. It'll pass. And enjoy the ride. Have you ever done deep relaxation techniques? Oh, they're wonderful. I'll make you a tape. But I worked at the VA hospital in pain reduction clinics, and I would teach people how, with terrible pain, to reinterpret their pain signals. And I'd start with that by having them very much relax their bodies. Lying on the floor, relax, lift up your arms. It's a simple technique. Now what happens is when you really relax your body while you're still awake, you have this feeling that your body grows huge or that you start floating and you fly. And as long as you expect it, you can enjoy the ride. It's normal, it's pleasant. You just have this unfortunate thing that you sometimes are out of phase with yourself. That you wake up in your head before you wake up in your body. Relax. That's the whole thing. There's nothing worse than that happening.
So you can't really control that. I mean, it happens.
No,
I
it's-
can't control it. I try not to go to sleep during the day. When I sleep at night, if I get up and sit on the couch or sit in the chair and look at TV or listen to the radio or read a book, I try not to go to sleep because it seems it also occurs once I've slept during the night and then fall asleep during the day with the TV going or something.
Okay.
And it's like I can hear the TV,
Let
see
me
the
stop
TV.
you here, because we've got 2 minutes and I want to say something else. Okay, and I'll get to that one. Tonight, if you want to have a dream on a particular topic, you can do it. Most likely you can do it. Let's say that you could have a dream on any issue that's important in your life. What shall I do about my relationship with my brother, my husband, my sister, my wife? How come I always pick men who don't last? How come, let me repeat that one. How come I always...
Who lose their flavor.
That's what I should have said. How come I always pick men who lose their flavor and not men who can give me a long-term relationship?
Will I be able to dream about that?
Yes. Now, here's what you do. If you want to dream about this, it may not work the first time, but it works pretty well, pretty regularly. Take the sheet I gave you on dream incubation. That's what this is called. Like you incubate a baby, you incubate your problem in a nice, warm mental space. And there's a place on your dream journal pad. And you've got all the instructions there. The short version of those instructions are, choose the problem you want to dream about. How come I have trouble finding men who want a long-term relationship and who continue being interesting? Write that question down. As you fall asleep, repeat the question over and over. And when you wake up, write down whatever is in your mind. And then bring in your dream tomorrow. Okay?
It's like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz.
Very much.
Akil, I have one more question. Yeah, I have one more question.
We finished? Okay.
Yeah.
I had to wind up because they were giving me these
Okay, yeah,
signals.
I understand.
Stop down.
Right.
Why is it that when I sleep on my side, I don't tend to dream so much, but when I sleep on my back,
Back.
I was going to ask you that.
Okay, sleeping on your back is great. I sleep on my back particularly because I do better dream recall. It's a funny thing nobody knows.
So
The
it's
answer
not
is
only me.
no, it's real common.
Actually,
I
when
bet
I
it's the way
sleep
your
on my
stomach-
back is when I have
You know,
nightmares.
the food? No, I
What's
mean,
it? The feta
And if I
cheese.
eat, forget it. If I eat before I go to bed, I dream all night long.
me too.
Well, that's because you sleep less deeply. Your stomach's doing this, so when you wake up, we wake of da-da-da-da-da-da. I mean, but the answer that you gave us during break was that you feel like that in certain work situations where you get overwhelmed with how scary it is. I mean, that's really all you need to say, if that's right.
And then you're going to pick
Right?
it up from there.
And then I'm going to pick it up from there. We're going to go to who else's dream? Let me see who else's dream. Da-da-da-da. Oh, we've got your Ryan dream. That would be very nice in comparison to Monica's dream. Okay?
Mary's dream.
Yeah. I'm sorry. We'll come back to it. Okay. So you're just trying to help this poor dreamer out. You're not
Okay.
performing for anybody else. You're trying to help her out and get some energy going.
Okay.
Okay. We're ready to roll.
Okay, why don't you, yes,
Okay.
we're ready to go. Go ahead and take a 5 count and then go ahead and start.
I'll count 5 and then I'll ask you, okay?
Okay.
So, Kathy, why don't you ask Marie the next question?
Okay, Marie, so there you are. You're helpless. You're trying to struggle and get something out, but you can't. What in your current life that's going on that's similar to this?
Well, it was the sale of my company, the closing was out of control. And the attorney made a $300,000 error that came right off the bottom line. And a couple of other things happened, and the guy is a complete wacko, and it was out of my control. And, I mean, if this didn't work out, he had the power to destroy me financially, and there was nothing I could do about it. So, yeah, I was really scared, come to think. I never realized I was that scared. But, I mean, this was like, bankrupt, potentially.
Okay.
So,
Good.
yeah,
Good
yeah,
work,
that's
Kathy.
Thanks.
Good work,
Yeah.
Kathy. It takes some people like 6 to 8 months to get good at this.
Okay.
You're doing real well.
Thanks.
That's
I was
great.
a little nervous I wouldn't get the right response.
You got to let the dreamer go where she goes. Okay, well, that's great. Actually, I think you had another dream. Somebody who's having lots of dreams of being scared, I can't get the voice out, usually has another recurring dream. It's an examination dream. Can you tell us that dream?
I have another dream I've dreamt a long time, and it's always exactly the same, where it's not like I'm enrolling in school, but I've got one semester left to finish school at the end. And I'm not going to go to class because I hate class, I don't need to go, and I'm just going to